At first, the teachers thought the girls were joking. A few students laughing during class was nothing unusual. Children laugh. Schools get noisy. Life moves on. But this time, the laughter didn't stop. Minutes passed, then hours. Some students began struggling to breathe. Others laughed so hard they collapsed onto the floor crying at the same time. And before anyone fully understood what was happening, something strange had already started spreading through the school. The year was 1962. The place was Tanganyika, the East African nation that would later become modern-day Tanzania. The country had only recently gained independence. There was excitement in the air, but also pressure. Schools had become extremely strict. Students were expected to succeed. Discipline was heavy, and emotional stress quietly existed beneath daily life in ways many adults didn't fully notice. Inside a girls' boarding school in the village of Kashasha, a few students suddenly began laughing uncontrollably during class. At first, teachers punished them. They assumed it was ordinary misbehavior, but the girls couldn't stop. The laughter spread from one student to another. Soon entire groups of students were affected. Some laughed continuously for hours. Others became restless, anxious, or emotionally overwhelmed. Several cried while laughing uncontrollably at the same time. And what frightened teachers most was that many students later said they desperately wanted to stop, but physically couldn't. Imagine sitting in a classroom while your classmates laugh uncontrollably around you, not because something is funny, but because something inside them suddenly feels out of control. That emotional confusion slowly transformed into fear, and fear spread even faster than the laughter itself. Eventually, the school could no longer function normally. Teachers lost control of classrooms. Lessons became impossible. Parents were contacted urgently. And then the situation became even stranger, because the affected students returned home to nearby villages. And shortly afterward, the symptoms appeared there too. Not everywhere immediately, but slowly, quietly, like tension moving invisibly between people. Families reported unusual emotional outbreaks, laughing fits, crying, restlessness, panic, difficulty sleeping. Some villagers became terrified that the community had been cursed. Others whispered about poisoning. Rumors spread rapidly across nearby regions. Parents stopped trusting what they were seeing. Teachers became emotionally exhausted. And eventually, multiple schools were forced to close completely because nobody could explain why ordinary human emotions had suddenly become contagious. And that may sound impossible now, but witnesses described entire communities changing psychologically during those months. People became hyper-aware of one another's emotions. If someone laughed nearby, others became nervous immediately. Conversations changed. Daily routines became tense. And slowly, the fear of the laughter became almost as powerful as the laughter itself. That's what makes this story so psychologically disturbing. Not just the symptoms, but the emotional atmosphere surrounding them. Because once fear enters a community deeply enough, people begin watching each other differently. Every reaction starts feeling suspicious. Every strange behavior feels important. And normal life slowly begins losing its sense of stability. Some students reportedly experienced symptoms for days, others for months. Researchers later estimated that over 1,000 people may have been affected in some way as the phenomenon spread through schools and villages. To this day, experts still debate exactly what happened. Most researchers believe it was a form of mass psychogenic illness, a psychological chain reaction triggered by stress, anxiety, emotional pressure, and social contagion. In simple terms, human emotions spreading through groups so intensely that physical symptoms begin appearing collectively. And while science offers explanations, the emotional reality of the event still unsettles people today, because it revealed something deeply uncomfortable about human beings. The idea that emotions themselves can spread almost like infection, not through blood, not through air, but through fear, stress, and shared psychological tension. And maybe that's why the story still feels disturbing decades later, because the outbreak did not happen inside a laboratory, or during war, or inside some isolated experiment. It happened in ordinary schools, ordinary villages, around ordinary people trying to live normal lives. Which means the boundary between stability and psychological chaos may be far thinner than most people want to believe. Eventually, the laughter faded, schools reopened, life slowly returned to normal. But people never completely forgot what happened in Tanganyika during those strange months of 1962, because long after the symptoms disappeared, the memory remained. The memory of watching entire classrooms lose control of emotions simultaneously. The memory of communities becoming psychologically unsettled together. And the realization that sometimes The most disturbing mysteries are not the ones involving monsters, or darkness, or violence. Sometimes the most frightening mysteries are the ones that reveal how fragile the human mind can become when fear quietly spreads from person to person until nobody feels fully in control anymore. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Feedy